Hey guys, it's Kelsey. I'm back with another scrapbooking process video. I'm back with my How to Kill a Kit with Style gel collection from Felicity Jane. So for this one, I wanted to use this multicolored pattern that comes in the collection. And I thought it would look really nice matted on this solid pink paper. So right now you can just see I'm gutting the pink paper and then I'm going to mat this pattern paper in it. So I'm going to get all of that together. I just think this pattern paper is really pretty but very light, and I felt like I wanted the edges defined a little bit, so matting it on the solid piece of paper really helped with that. It also pulled that darker pink from within the pattern paper out a little more, because there wasn't a whole lot of this darker pink in this pattern paper. So I really like how that looks. I also saved the strips I gutted from the sides of the pattern paper, as well as this large square chunk from the middle of the background. So those will be on later layouts. I'm going to go ahead and get this glued down. I was really hesitant to do this because I didn't want to use two 12 by 12s on one page. But I kind of figured, like, you need to suck it up. This is how you want to use the products, just do it. Because at a certain extent, I'm finding this month with wanting to stretch all of these products that I'm not creating pages the way I would if I was free to just use what I wanted to use, how I wanted to use it for the sake of trying to stretch it. You know what I mean? So for this one, I was like, you know what? Use both 12 by 12s, use 2 pieces of vellum, like, it'll be fine. You can see I'm pulling in some of those 6 by 6 papers. I don't think I end up using any of those. I think I use a scrap of some of the heart paper from a previous page later on. But I figured if I can use it this way and save a large chunk of the 12 by 12s, I'll be okay with it. I definitely wanted to get some vellum used up. I have a lot of vellum still for this collection, and not a whole lot of pattern paper, so I definitely wanted to get a couple sheets of the vellum on here. I really love this scripty one that says "Hello Beautiful." I thought it looked really nice over this pattern paper. So I want that "Hello Beautiful" vellum to be a large column down the right side of the page. Of course, it is not 12 inches long. So I was thinking about some way to have some horizontal element so that I can stretch this vellum piece a little bit. But I know I probably won't be able to stretch it across the entire page like I would want to, but we'll make it work. There's this black polka dot vellum I thought I would mat my photo in. I decided not to use any pattern paper for this. I really like how the vellum looks. This black vellum is pretty solid, so you can see it really easily, but I do like that you can read this text vellum behind the polka dot. So there's that texture and there's that subtle hint of translucency, and so I really like that. You can see I did gut a little bit from that black polka dot vellum to save for another page. But yeah, I really like that. So that's where I'm starting with my design, and now I'm looking at all the pocket cards I have in this collection, and I'm having like flashbacks to the last Felicity Jane kit I used, and I like got hardly any of the pocket cards used up. So I was like, you know what, I want to use a bunch of these pocket cards and some of these smaller scraps on this page. I need to get them used. I don't want all these pocket cards left over like what happened with the Harper collection. So I went in with this circle punch and I just cut 3 different sizes of circles from a bunch of these different pocket cards, as well as the scrap of vellum and the scrap of the gray solid. I believe the back of that gray is the yellow solid too, and I do go back and punch some more of that so I can have the yellow and the gray circles. But I decided to do this large band of layered circles across the horizontal part of the page. I really like how it pulls in all these different colors and all these different patterns. I like how it uses up scraps, but I also like that this means if I have filled in this gap across the horizontal part of the page, I can stretch this vellum. So you can see I just trimmed it there so I could pull it apart a little bit so that that "Hello Beautiful" vellum looks longer than it originally was. So now I just need to fill that gap with these circles. I believe I go and cut a few more of them out, but I thought this was such a great way to use scraps, and I definitely wanted to get these pocket cards used up. This is one of the few pages from this collection that is more than 2 colors. A lot of the paper layouts I've been doing this month have been monochromatic or maybe like 2 colors. So with this one having the yellow, the gray, and the pink and all of that, I wanted to take advantage and really get a ton of these pocket cards used up. So you can see I'm just scattering them. This takes me a minute to get them all laid out in a way that I like. But I'm just trying to make sure all the different sizes and all the different colors and patterns are scattered so they're not right next to each other and that they're balanced across the page. So that takes me a little bit to get all of that together. But yeah, and I do love that I'm getting that scrap of the black polka dot vellum used up in this circle too. That way that dark black is also balanced across the page instead of not just as this photo mat. So I'm going to go ahead and glue down the photo mat, and then I need to go through the whole process of gluing down all these circles where they pretty much were before. I don't know if you can see at the top part of the page or the frame, there's some of the embellishments that I pulled out that I thought I might use on this this layout. So I pulled out some gray, some yellow, and some pink embellishments. I don't know if I really use a whole lot of them though. Once I got all these circles down, it just seemed like a lot. It didn't seem done, but I was worried to pile too much on top of all of these different circles just because that's a lot going on anyways, on top of this being a multicolor background page. And then having this vellum black translucent scripty font over the pattern as well. So I struggled a little bit with trying to balance what I wanted to do with it being too busy versus is it enough to be called done. So you can see I'm just trying to get all these circles glued down again. But yeah, you'll see I kind of play around with what to add because in my mind I still thought this was kind of the beginning of the layout and that was going to get all these circles down and then that was just going to be the base for the layout and that I would still need to do a whole lot on top of that. But to be honest, once I got all these circles down, I really just felt like there wasn't a whole lot I could do without really making it look like too much. Like I almost felt like there was all this work that went into punching out and gluing and deciding where all these circles were going to go, that by the time it was done I was like, I kind of want that just to be the main point of this layout and I don't want to detract too much from this big circular banner that I finally got put together. So yeah, this is taking forever, but you can see kind of my thought process. I'm starting with the larger circles and trying to scatter those across, and then I'm going in with each of the smaller sizes and just making sure that the different colors and patterns are spread out. So yeah, I'm almost done here. There we go. And then you can see how they weren't running off the edge of the page, and that ended up bothering me. I felt like for it to really feel like it spanned the full page, it needed to run off the edge. So you can see where I started moving some of these circles to actually go off the edge of the page. And I feel like that makes it look a lot more complete to me. It was looking kind of weird where you can see the left side of this circular banner versus the right where they're all tucked within the edge of the page or the layout. I cannot talk today. I apologize, guys. But yeah, once I kind of realized that I wanted these circles to run off the edge, I needed to punch a couple more. And you can see the left side of this circular banner's looking a little bit wider than the right side. The right side's looking really unbalanced and narrow, so you can see where I am going back in with a couple more circular punches with this heart, black and white heart scrap that I had from one of the 6x6 papers, but I'm just trying to beef it out a little bit, making it look a little bit more balanced. And then that way I kind of had some larger circles running off the edge so it really feels like it spanned the full width of the layout. So I'm going to get those glued down. I think that looks a lot better to me. But yeah, I needed to move a few things around so I could redo my spacing. But I think that's all the circles. I do go in and just trim off whatever's running off the edge, and I like that a lot better. But you can see I used, I think, 3 or 4 pocket cards and then 2 or 3 chunks of scraps. So I was really happy. I love using designs like this where you can just go in with a punch and punch a whole bunch of shapes out of your scraps because you can get a lot of mileage out of your smaller bits and pieces by doing that. But I trimmed up the edges, so I really do like that. And now I kind of get to the point where I'm like, All right, now what do I do? So I know I want a title for sure. I'm not thinking I really need to do any journaling. This photo is pretty much me and Billy's usual when I was still living in Athens, Georgia, and going to the University of Georgia. I don't know if I had graduated at this point because I did live there for an extra semester after I graduated. I graduated a semester early, but I still had my lease on my apartment for the full year. But I was working at the University of Georgia's large animal hospital, so it was fine because it kind of gave me a year to find a job back home when I did leave Athens. But anyways, this is kind of our typical day off type deal. I loved going through McDonald's and getting me a caramel frappe, extra caramel drizzle, no whipped cream. I love taking that and a book and Billy to the dog park so he can just play, and I have this little bench underneath a tree out in the middle of the park where I would just read my book. I went through a huge phase of reading Charlene Harris's like True Blood series. It's not called True Blood, the actual book series, but that was like my guilty pleasure. So you can see that book in that picture. But I just loved this photo because it encompassed so many things that just made like my day nice. I got to sit out in the nice weather. Billy got to play with his friends. I got my, coffee in my book, and I was just as happy as could be. So I really wanted to record that. So pretty much I decided instead of saying all of that in journaling, I was just going to say it in my title so I wouldn't need journaling. So you can see here I'm just trying to get these two different Felicity Jane alphas down. So I use these cute little puppy tile black ones. They are adorable. I got them during their Black Friday sale last year. It reads a few of my favorite things. So I'm using the white puppy sticker that comes in the Jill collection to say favorite, and then I'm just using those cute little tile puffy black stickers to do all the smaller words. But yeah, I just felt like that and kind of encompassed the idea of this page. I can look at this photo and see all these different things. I get the point. I feel like I didn't really need journaling. I did want a date, so I did go in with a few of the ephemera pieces. I think I used one of the yellow labels that says you've got this, and then another little ticket thing that said date, so I could write the date down. But I think those are really the only two ephemera pieces I pull in from this collection, because like I said, I just really didn't want to add too much more with the ephemera, because after I had these circles down, I was like, that took so much time and I like how it looks, so I'm not going to pull away from that. I kind of want that to be the star. So yeah, I did pop these two little labels up on some foam squares, so that's just what I'm doing right there. But yeah, I liked the you got this sentiment. It's not like sitting at the dog park reading with coffee is difficult, but I just kind of felt like when I had one of these days where I got off work and then I got all my stuff together and Billy and I came here, I was like, man, I'm like living the good life right now. Like, I've got this under control. I graduated, I got a job. Like, it was just one of those moments, because like college can be really tenuous where, like, especially when you're getting close to finishing college, you're like, oh, like, I gotta figure life out now. Like, trial period is over. Like, you're done with school. You gotta figure out what you're gonna do with your life. And I knew I was gonna stay in the veterinary field and all that stuff. The decision was kind of, do I want to continue being a vet tech, or do I want to go back to school to be a veterinarian? But I just, like, when I had these days and these moments like this, it was just like, you know what, I've got this. So I really like that little ticket sentiment. And then you can see I just did that little ticket that says the date, so I could put the date down. This is March of 2012. I'm just clearing up my space a little bit because I want to do some Black Nouveau drops, and I've had a couple traumatizing layouts the past couple times I've done Nouveau where I've almost messed up my dots and smeared them across my finished layout. So I've been trying to clear up my space a little bit before I do Nouveau so I don't knock anything into the dots like I've done a couple times now. But I just wanted to scatter a couple of these dots in and amongst these other circles. I figured I have the circular theme going on. I felt like these little black puffy tile things, like letters in my title, added a lot of black there. excuse me. So I wanted to just add a few other little black things across the page so it didn't seem so like, black all of a sudden. But there are my Nuvo drops, and this is the end of the page. So again, it ended up pretty simple. It's a really easy technique. Great way to use up scraps. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I wanted to keep this one simple. So thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next one. Thanks. Bye.